feel so honoured to be here in a room full of amazing people, and thank you for sharing your stories yesterday and today with me. And now I invite you to walk with me through my journey. So I want to take you back to 1982 when there was awesome hairstyles. And I was walking home from school. I was only 6 or 7, humming a tune, backpack on my back, waiting to get home to see my mum and sister who would be waiting at the window. And we didn't have a pool like my neighbours, so every time my dad would get home, I would always be nagging him, please take me to the local pool, please take me to the local pool. Life was good. However, every afternoon for a very long time, 2 older girls would wait for me right near my house and tease me about being fat every single afternoon. And the voice inside me was screaming at them to stop. However, it would never come out of my mouth. It was stuck in my throat. And I can still recall 34 years on. And I was always a social little girl. I was always trying new things, not understanding why people would make fun of the way someone looked. I mean, I would never do that. So why are these people laughing at the way I look or throwing rocks at me and making me the brunt of their jokes? And like Deborah said this morning, repeated thoughts become belief. And the more I was teased about my weight, the more I began to build a facade. And my coping mechanism was to make people laugh while I was crying on the inside, and today crying in front of you. At that time, I did not have the skills required to be able to tell them how much they were hurting me. The adults around me did not have the skills to teach me how to build resilience. My parents had limited social skills at the time because they had just arrived from Italy, so they were only learning English themselves. My English came from watching Sesame Street. I still remember that. And they came to Australia to build a better future, and for that I thank them, because if not, I wouldn't be able to be here sharing this amazing story with you all. They were doing the best they could with the skills they had. However, I do think that if I was equipped with the skills of understanding how to act in the face of adversity, I truly believe the way I could have handled my childhood would have been different. I can't see anything, I'm sorry. So as I grew older, one of the main reasons I was drawn to the early childhood sector was because here I was, a humble human being with the opportunity to make a massive difference in the life of children and the families. Wow, count me in. I'm so shy. In my current role as an early childhood consultant, I have taken this further to be able to reiterate the importance of teaching resilience to children in the early childhood setting. Now, social skills are fundamental for the relationships around us, and social skills go hand in hand with emotional development. Social skills assist us with understanding empathy and rapport, interpersonal attributes, implementing problem-solving skills, and how to handle adversity. Social skills go hand in hand with emotional development. Now remember, there are big feelings happening in little people, and we have to teach them how to manage these feelings and their behaviour. These lifelong skills that are being taught or not being taught will influence their future and the way they respond to situations. The rate of suicide in young children is increasing, especially with the introduction of social media platforms. This is another reason that resilience should be included in early childhood programs. Organisations such as Kids Matter produce materials outlining the importance of social and emotional development and how it impacts directly to mental health. They offer strategies for educators to embed into their everyday practice and assist children to be more confident as they grow. Therefore, as early childhood professionals, how do our pedagogical practices ensure that lifelong skills are being taught? Well, for us in the early childhood field, it's using the required document to guide us, which is called Being, Belonging, Becoming, the Early Years Learning Framework. The framework forms the foundation for ensuring that children in all early childhood education and care settings throughout Australia experience quality teaching and learning. The framework is divided into 3 sections: practices, principles, and 5 learning outcomes. These guide the implementation of our childhood curriculum. The Early Years Learning Framework mentions inquiry-based learning. Active involvement in learning builds children's understanding of concepts and creative thinking and inquiry processes that are necessary for lifelong learning. And this relates to learning outcome 4. Children are confident and involved learners. Therefore, through the development of skills and processes such as problem solving, inquiry, experimentation, hypothesising, researching and investigating. And when we engage in programs that teach social skills well and build agency and resilience in children, and as educators we go beyond routines that make life easier for us, less clean-up, less mess, less preparation, and we think less about squashing children into routines that make life easier for us, we move into a place where children can be much more capable than we give them credit for. At that moment, we stop trying to make compliant little people that can become targets for bullies, and we focus on building leaders. We start to build people who are not afraid of their world and are not afraid to be the change that is needed. Moving forward, the lifelong skills I envision being taught to children and their families in regards to social skills and resilience is the ability to say no in situations when they are uncomfortable, and the ability to talk even if your voice is shaking. And we have heard that yesterday as well. I visit many early childhood centres that focus their transition to school on the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, and writing their names. Now, we know that unless children are developmentally ready, they will not grasp this concept because their brains don't have the capacity to. We know sometimes it's just rote learning. So hearing a child saying their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s doesn't necessarily mean they understand what they are doing. Transition to school programs could be so much stronger if there is an emphasis on educating families that lifelong skills, such as ways to cope in social situations, how to understand stress as a challenge rather than a problem, is a much stronger transition to school program rather than making the main focus on academia. Some questions that parents may have are, but Stella, what about teaching children consequences? Well, what about punishments if they do the wrong thing? Well, there is enough in natural consequences to teach young children that if you take off your jumper in winter, you will feel cold. Not that they do, because they never feel the cold. If you don't eat dinner, you'll feel hungry later. And most importantly, that if you break your toy, you won't have anything to play with tomorrow. So the ability to teach these lifelong skills will build resilience in our future generations. And by being equipped with these skills and understanding on how to handle adversity, we can hopefully eliminate the need to heal what aches for so many. Thank you.